the personalities of folks that we go out and we actually have to treat. If they combine this with methamphetamines, that's going to give them the power to do anything. They're the ones that will go in there and kill their family. They're the ones that will rob a bank. They're the ones that will abuse their children, abuse their wives, whatever they might do. The opioids bring them down off of that level till they have that extended euphoria where it takes them down and they just really, really feel good. When you combine the two, it's an absolutely deadly mixture. And that's a lot of what we're seeing out here. The carfentanyl has killed more people in the last 2 years than anything that we've got out there that we're dealing with today. Because like I said, it's anywhere from 1,000 to 10,000 times stronger than morphine. It's out on the street. Now, the other thing that we're trying to do in teaching the families who come and consult with us and talk with us is how to identify with their kids that might be using this, what their actions are like. For example, a kid that starts this in high school or anywhere, they start to change friends almost immediately. They start to stay isolated in their room. Their physical activity drops to nothing. They want to sleep all the time. Their scholastic achievement drops to 0. It's almost, you can take and watch it in a cycle to where it begins to where it ends, that you find out, oh my gosh, my son, my daughter, my wife, my husband, whomever, they're on dope. So what we're trying to do is, as best we can, is identify all of these issues that go along with this and try to find resources that better identify how we're going to manage it. That's early indication that someone may be doing this, may be trying it. The friends they hang out with, the peer pressure that might be there to do this kind of thing. And like I said before, we're talking about kids from middle school up now. We're not talking about high school up. We're talking about kids now in middle school that are trying some of these things. It can be anything from sniffing glue to computer duster to get them started, to marijuana, to alcohol, but it's a stepping stone to all those different things to when we get to where we end up with this. I wanted to show you, I don't know if it will show up really well. This is what our homes look like. If you can see this, it's kind of dark in there. That's one of the number one things that we have experienced in the last 3 years that has just jumped out the top. It's how people live now. And we're talking anything from infants to elementary level kids to high school kids that they're living in this crap every day. That's what we see when we go out here. You have to stumble through the mess. The sinks in the kitchen have at least 1 month of dishes in there, and the roaches are crawling everywhere. We're actually having to decon our trucks now from bed bugs and lice routinely with our crews because of what they're running into. And this is another example that, and here, let's see, I can't even tell which one that is from here.
That's one with the syringe.
Okay. I want you to look at this because this is what their kids, their parents, this is what they have to witness. These things are everywhere. We'll go in a house and there'll be at least 25 to 30 of these syringes laying all over the place. With the kids in the house and everybody there, you find them under the bed, you find them in the bathroom, you find them all in the vehicles. It's ridiculous as to where we've got to with this, and it absolutely has to be brought under control. And it's going to take communities working together to do this. It's going to take you forcing your politicians to take strong looks at this. You're going to, everybody sees it. We're all spinning in this circle in emergency services and law enforcement on how we're going to deal with this. And we're not going anywhere. So as we move forward, when they talk to you about, what's the opioid director doing? Find out. He's doing a great job. He's been pushing doors. He's been getting with different facilities, different resources that can be out there. All of your police chiefs, your sheriff, everyone's working 200% to try to identify it. But all of us are getting to that door, to that wall, where we can't go any further. We've got to establish resources that are available to be able to take care of all this. Because if we don't, it is going to, President Reagan made this comment, and you all may remember it. It's not nuclear weapons that's going to kill our country, it's drugs, which is the reason the First Lady started targeting it so heavily when she did. That statement was made years ago, and that's where we are. Questions? Yeah.
So, would you say, number one, thank you for your service to our county. You mentioned drug courts. From my experience and understanding of drug courts, they're a successful program that has been dotted across the country. And here locally, North Carolina, we have several that are proven to be successful. It takes resources, it takes money, it takes dedication to changing your patterns. Do you feel that wall you just mentioned starts at county commissioners? Is that where that first wall is?
No, actually, they have been very aggressive at trying to get to where we need to be with this. The group, for the last several years, where we have been growing with this, they have clearly identified it's got to be taken care of, which is the reason they hired the opioid director. Because they were looking at the same issues we were, look, we've got to get all these people talking together. We've got to get all these people going in the same direction somehow or another, getting it coordinated in a way that we're effective, because that we weren't. And with all of the different issues that are going on out here, there had to be that one single person that takes that step and bringing everybody together. Because I'll tell you, as busy as we are, Dale can tell you, as busy as law enforcement is, as busy as all the other agencies, it's like if you sit in here and you talk to Christy Preston in social services about what she's dealing with the children, it's unbelievable every day.
So if you had all the money you wanted, what is the plan that this group has come up with Mark Willis and the opioid director? So what, if you had the money, what would the plan be?
One thing is getting clear direction from step A to step E. How do we get there? It's once we identify, and we're doing intervention type practice. For example, we got approved this year some intervention folks that are going to be stationed at our emergency departments and other locations, to where when they identify this person that needs a help and they won't help. And here's the other problem we've got. We've got one, I'll give you one individual in the county, which is a young man who is 27 years old, that we have resuscitated from cardiac arrest 6 times.
Yeah, I believe it.
6 times. And we've said, young man, you've been dead for 5 to 10 minutes. Do you understand? I don't care, you got to let me up. You can't hold me.
Yeah, it's like 80% of your resources go to 20% of your people. So
That's right.
What's the plan of what we would do?
Yeah, that's first we gotta define a clear direction of where we get there. Once we've identified those folks, we get them in an intervention process. Where do they go?
Right.
How long do they stay there? One of the things that we have asked with the hospitals is maybe we can create a system where we first identify what this person's on before they're incarcerated, for example. Once we find out they're incarcerated and they're on methamphetamines, benzodiazepines, on opioids of every kind, what kind of treatment are we going to have to put in place for them to try to get them back out as a standard citizen? If it's one of those individuals that tries it as recreation but's not a trafficker, okay? The other side of that is, once we identify those resources, what steps do we take to get where we got to be? In other words, does that mean that they marked response teams go out, they do the evaluation, we clearly identify where this person can go. We have, for example, one direction we want to go in is a 23-hour assessment location where you actually find out,
That we could put in the hospital.
right, that you could put in the hospital and say, this is what this person's on, they are willing to take treatment, where do we go from there? Because right now we're losing them. And that's the reason we looked at that 23-hour window to be able to get to them and find out, what do they really need? Because what's happening is if we don't have a period of time that we can do a clear assessment, we lose them.
Yeah, once
Yeah.
they're involved with either EMS
Yeah.
or the criminal justice system, the reality is getting them in for an assessment, they're mostly gonna be multi-substance users anyway.
Yeah.
But the reality is, we don't have anywhere to place them.
That's
That's
exact-
what I'm getting at.
That's it, and that's,
You have places to place them, they don't have any way to get there.
Yeah,
I mean,
Well-
that's a
ways to
simple
get them
truth.
there, because the crisis team will take them.
Yeah,
The crisis team will transfer them, because I'm having to do it.
Right, not, that's
Yeah.
cover everybody.
They won't cover everybody.
the other thing too is, we're looking at Suboxone therapy that starts early.
I think what we're talking
Yeah.
about is we don't have a continuum of care, we don't have it, and if we had them incarcerated, at least we could have an a treatment that is while they're in jail.
Exactly. That's one step.
That's one step, then there's gotta be halfway houses, there's gotta be all sorts of
But
things.
you leave after having been incarcerated clean.
Right,
You
that's
don't
what I'm
get
saying.
rehab when you're incarcerated, so I think one thing that happens,
Yeah.
when an incarcerated person is released, they're clean, but they can
They-
overdose on drugs pretty quickly.
Well, they don't,
They-
we don't have any sort of transitional housing.
That's exactly right. Once we get there, and I'm gonna get to your answer there, but once we get to that point that you just stated, then we have to clearly design how we're going to rehab them.
That's
That's
really
right.
all.
And there's
That's
a big
right.
difference between
Yeah.
the street level, as you said,
That's right.
and the first timers.
Right.
Drug court is a perfect example of helping those first timers.
And I can tell you right now, unless they go through 12 to 24 months of continuous treatment, it's not going to do any good. It's
Hey,
not.
Can I say one thing? Because a lot of people don't know what drug court is. It's not a physical court that's designed just for drug cases. Drug court is a treatment program that's working.
Exactly.
So it's a whole program that can last anywhere from 12 to 18, possibly 24 months. So it's a
It's a
full
set of
service
accountability.
program. Right,
It's a way to
it's
get
accountability.
accountability.
It is.
So-
Is there a
Surrey
point
County's not
at
having
is
a
there
Yeah.
at some point where they can be immune to the Narcan? Cause you said this particular person 6 times, I mean, at some point, is it gonna be where the Narcan won't work?
You know what? That's a good question because we don't know. We don't know that there may be an individual that develops a sensitivity to it or an anaphylactic reaction or something like that. We're not sure of that because Narcan's been there for ages to be able to, in surgery, for example, if you got too much and your respirations were depressed, it was given to reverse that. And that's, Narcan had been in place for several years with those at that time, that something may happen that person got too much for their size or what was in their system at that time, and it was given to reverse that. But yes,
Well, I think what you're really saying is a mindset change
yes,
and a calculation, like you said, it's how it's gonna affect Medicaid and stuff. So if the governmental entities that create budgets are only throwing Band-Aids at the problem, and they're not willing to look at a more comprehensive plan that may cost some money in the beginning, but it's gonna save money 10 years down the road, everybody's wasting their damn time.
well, and that's exactly what I was getting at. It's like, look at this on this side of the table. This is what it's costing, but when we go over here and we try to put something in place to resolve it, is it really going to be that much more than what it's costing us already? You need to think about that.
Narcan and Suboxone, can they be used interchangeably?
Can what?
Narcan and Suboxone.
Yes, they can. They sure can. We have a certain amount of Narcan that we administer. Most of the time, it's no more than 4 milligrams that we give, unless we're in that situation where that person, for example, with carfentanil, a lot of times, or any other agent that they put in there with that, A lot of times we don't know exactly how much they've given, they've taken, but our standard up to 4 milligrams. Yeah,
Thank you, John.
you're welcome.
We have a small token of appreciation for coming to talk with us today. Thank you very much. And if you can stay maybe a little bit longer, I know there may be some more questions. So thank you for a very enlightening presentation. Tom, do we have a drawing?
Okay. 098. Oh!
So really?
098.
Hey!
Cherry one. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week.